This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the 8th Annual Precious Metal Summit here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. With me right now is George Salamis from Integra Resources. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you, ITR on the TSX Venture and IRRZF in the U.S. George, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks. Great to be here.
It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
So, for our audience, let's start off with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
So Integra is Integra 2.0, as we affectionately call it. It's Integra Resources, is essentially the second incarnation of Integra Gold, which was sold to Eldorado last year for $600 million. Our symbol is ITR. We trade on the venture exchange, and we're a relatively new company. Our project is advanced stage gold and silver in southwestern Idaho.
So you actually alluded a little bit to the history there, but let's get a full history. When did the company start, and how did you develop to where you're currently at today?
Yeah, I think in order to fully understand the story about Integra Resources, you have to go back to the original incarnation, which is Integra Gold. And 5 years ago, Integra Gold was a $25 million market cap company. We had $3 million in the bank. We had a great asset unloved asset in northern Quebec. And over time, we persevered, raised money through difficult market conditions, and built up a very large resource asset base to a point where it just became attractive for Eldorado Gold, a significant gold producer, to buy us out. So that was $25 million in value, sold at $600 million 4 years later. So that was a great run for the shareholders, and we made one really important decision last year after the sale. None of us wanted to go surfing or do any of those cool things. We wanted to keep the group together, right? Because it's really important. There's so few really solid management teams that work really well together. So we all decided we're going to stay together, keep the band together, and find something else.
So tell us a little bit more about Integra 2.0 as you call it.
So Integra 2.0 is essentially the focus of Integra 2.0 was the same as Integra 1.0, which was advanced stage asset, first world jurisdiction, access and infrastructure aplenty. But I think most specifically, it's the piece of having the ability to point to a past history of gold and silver production in this case, similar to Val-d'Or, a long history of gold mining over a 75-year period. In the case of Idaho, it's a much longer period of gold and silver production. And I think that historical aspect is really important to build as a base.
So tell me more about the land package, the resource itself. What are we working with here in Idaho?
So in order to describe that, I think it behooves us to talk about history first. So this is a district that was first saw production in the late 1800s. And it was really high-grade underground gold production, gold, silver in this district, generally known as Silver City, essentially, in southwestern Idaho. And they mined underground spectacular gold grades. 30 grams per ton was kind of the average, and making money hand over fist. And then that stopped at the beginning of the First World War, period of hiatus, no mining activity, and then Kinross essentially picked up the ball, and they mined the low-hanging fruit, essentially, that was left behind on the surface in open pits. Now, one thing when we did our due diligence on this asset, and we looked at 2,000 plus drill holes, we said there's a very large remnant resource base that's still sitting there. So this asset wasn't shut down due to depleted reserves per se. It was shut down due to gold prices in the late 1990s. You're probably a bit too young to remember that time in the gold business, but I can assure you it was nuclear winter, right? And so it shut down for those reasons, and it was left behind. And then they reclaimed the area, but that, what is today a 3.5 million ounce gold equivalent resource, is still sitting there.
So where are you at now then? Now that we have a good idea of the history of the land package, the area, the district that you're going into, where is the company currently at in its project development?
So we have a very large resource base to kick ourselves off with, in terms of a new company. And we've only been around for 9 months now. So we thought, okay, the first step for us is to step out marginally on what's known, that shallow resource, which is very large, and see if we can make it even bigger. So we've spent literally the last 6 months drilling intensively out on the site in Idaho in an effort to make that resource bigger, and we've been putting out phenomenal results over the course of the summer.
And what are some of the company's value catalysts now moving forward heading into 2019?
So for us, the next few steps are de-risking steps. So it's finish off the drill program, get those results out to the market, and then we're in a phase of de-risking in terms of engineering and metallurgy to lead up to an economic study, which is going to be the proof in the pudding in terms of, is this an economic bet? Do we have something that could be a very large production scenario? We think we have that.
And where can our audience go and find more information about Integra?
www.integraresources.com.
My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the 8th Annual Precious Metal Summit 2018 here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. With me again has been George Salamis from Integra Resources, publicly traded company, two symbols for you, ITR in the TSX Venture and IRRZF in the U.S. George, thank you again for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.